P&O Australia operate a fleet of 3 ships, with Pacific Encounter and Pacific Adventure joining Pacific Explorer in late 2022. I sailed on the maiden Pacific Adventure cruise last October, and if you've watched my review of that cruise, you'll know that it wasn't very good. After living through the pandemic and what seemed like a never-ending cruise industry shutdown, I've learned not to take the cruise industry for granted. But as consumers, we book and pay for experiences based on brochures or these days websites, and we should get what we pay for. I knew, based on other cruises I had sailed on Pacific Explorer and Pacific Encounter last year, that my experience on Adventure was the exception and not the rule. It was, after all, a maiden cruise. So I wanted to give P&O and Pacific Adventure another try, and that's exactly what I did. I booked and sailed on a 3-night cruise from Sydney return to Eden for the food festival in the Sapphire Coast. And I'll tell you exactly how that went now. I'm Adrian, the Cruise and Travel Guy. I produce cruise-related video content every week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. Pacific Adventure offers many features and venues that cruisers will recognize if they've sailed on the smaller Pacific Explorer. There are a multitude of beautifully designed public spaces, from the Adventure Hotel and Ocean Bar to the adults-only Oasis. Although Adventure is larger than Explorer, internally she doesn't really feel that way, and for me that's a good thing. There's a certain comfort that the Grand Class ships offer that some new build ships really just can't match. Where Adventure and Encounter really separate from Explorer though, is with the Byron Beach Club. Taking advantage of the outdoor space that in the ship's previous lives with Princess was used for the adults-only paid access zone called the Sanctuary, P&O have instead created an exclusive alfresco area, complete with a pool and hot tubs. So how do you access it? Except for the S5 category window suites on Pacific Adventure, every person staying in a full suite gains access automatically. Additionally, M1 category Byron Beach branded mini suites also gain access. The club itself is really the main benefit of the Byron Beach room tier, and it's a big one. The space is beautiful. It's located forward and high on deck 16, and you can only access it with your room key. Although the space is completely outdoors, you have the choice of full sun or shaded areas. All of the furniture is padded, and there are outdoor lounge settings, sun lounges, and cabanas. It's all available on a first-come, first-served basis, but there's never a problem finding a spot. On the lower level, there's a pool with staircase entry, as well as 2 hot tubs. It didn't feel as though the pool was heated, it was quite cool. Unlike the maiden voyage where the pool and hot tubs were closed, I was very happy to see them all remain open for my entire 3-night cruise. The club really feels like a retreat, and where on the maiden cruise there was no music or atmosphere, on this voyage I'm glad to report that there was very light contemporary background music playing, and it really helped set the tone. One of the other big perks of the Byron Beach comes via the Byron Beach crew. On our cruise, there were clearly highly experienced, seasoned crew members that did everything that they could to make sure that all passengers had a great time. Special shout out to Jag, Mason, and Jason. You guys were excellent. Pacific Adventure offers several casual dining venues, most notably the food court style buffet called The Pantry. In addition, Luke's Burger Bar and Grati Pronto operate daily from late morning until late at night. Both Luke's and Grati are specialty dining venues with a la carte pricing, which is a point of contention compared to other lines that offer complimentary poolside casual dining. In saying that, I do find the quality of the food here to be better than some of the other complimentary options on other cruise lines, but how much better and what that's worth is really up for debate. Nevertheless, both venues are popular and queues during the daytime aren't uncommon. As a Byron Beach Club guest though, you have access to the printed menus in the club and you can place an order for the food from the crew. It's a really nice touch, it lets you skip the queue, and it really has a bit of an Uber Eats feeling to it. It's only a shame that the ordering is limited to those 2 venues with no complimentary options on offer. To that end, you can't even order a barista-made coffee to the club, nor can you get an espresso martini. These are 2 things that I hope will be addressed in future. Pacific Adventure is not short on choice when it comes to swimming pools. Including the Byron Beach Club pool, there are 4 in total. One is dedicated to families and has a retractable roof to protect it from inclement weather. One is part of the adults-only oasis right at the back of the ship. And then there's the main central outdoor pool. Even some new ships built today don't offer that level of choice when it comes to swimming pools or outdoor recreational zones. Even with those other options though, it's really pleasant to have your own dedicated space to access during the day. If you're interested in some relaxation time and you enjoy being outdoors but not necessarily in the full sun, the club is a really great spot to chill out. The bar, however, closes at 6 p.m, which felt early during our daylight savings time cruise, especially with later port departures. There are other perks, of course. Angelo's is normally only open for dinner, but on Pacific Encounter and Pacific Adventure, the restaurant is a private dining venue for breakfast that Byron Beach Club members can enjoy, where all other guests are welcome to enjoy a seated a la carte breakfast in the Waterfront restaurant. Byron passengers can head to Angelo's at their leisure during its open hours. There's no need to wait for a table or make a reservation, you can simply walk in when you're ready. The menu is slightly different as well, with a special Eggs Benedict on offer. Unfortunately, it wasn't totally without its issues. During my cruise, Angelo's was being used as an overflow restaurant for the waterfront. I didn't know this, and on our first morning at sea, we went to Angelo's and I approached the host desk, gave them our room number, and we were seated. I didn't think much of it initially, but I pretty quickly realized just how busy the restaurant was and it didn't seem quite right. By that time, we had already ordered our breakfast and our food soon arrived, which we finished. As we left the restaurant, we looked again at the signage and realized that the arrow might have been pointing to the starboard side of the ship and not the left-hand entrance door as I first thought it was. It turned out that yes, we were meant to go to the starboard entrance of Angelo's, but even there was still no signage on the other side. Later in the cruise, we went to the correct side of Angelo's and I definitely noticed a difference. Breakfast was much more relaxed and the service was more attentive, as the restaurant on that side was of course less busy. Plus, I got to enjoy that special Eggs Benny. I do think on that first morning that the staff at the restaurant desk should have realized we were in the wrong location when I gave them our room number. I often think though that if this is happening to me, someone that knows what's what for the most part on cruises, what's happening to other people that are relying on the cruise line or crew members to tell them where to go or give them correct information? And I think that's what irks me the most. At check-in for the maiden Pacific Adventure cruise, we found out that none of the sit-down specialty dining restaurants would be operating. Although Shell and Bones remains closed today, thankfully Luke's and 400 Gradi are both open. I was excited to check out the new format restaurant from longtime P&O partner and celebrity chef Luke Mangan. On Adventure, the restaurant operates as an a la carte restaurant, meaning you can order as much or as little as you like. If you enjoy tapas-style dining, then you'll love sampling the variety of delicious starters. All of the dishes have been thoughtfully designed and crafted, bursting with flavor and texture. We really went to town with the menu, trying as much as we could. The highlight just happened to be the T-bone steak for 2, which arrives carved on a platter and is then served tableside. Look away if you're offended by medium rare steaks. The cost will ultimately depend on what you order, and for us it came to around $50 per head, significantly less than what we would have paid for an equivalent meal on land. The cost at $50 is on par with Princess Cruises' specialty restaurant Crown Grill. For the quality and variety of food though, Luke's is for me the superior dining experience, and I highly recommend it. Apart from that one dinner at Luke's, we also dined at the Waterfront restaurant and Angelo's. Dinner in the Waterfront restaurant was a bit hit and miss. I found the overall quality of the meal was lacking, and the menu appeared to be quite pared down from what I remember. Dessert in particular was a big no bueno. I had this same dessert last year on Explorer and it was infinitely better and edible. Angelo's, on the other hand, was truly one of the best main dining room meals that I've had. From the springy focaccia to the delicious split pea soup and gnocchi. For the main course, I had the lamb shoulder, which was not only fork tender, but full of flavor and truly better than some specialty dining meals I've enjoyed previously. I know I've harped on about Angelo's for about a year now, but it seems that everyone else agrees because it was almost impossible to get a reservation at the restaurant even on day one. Unsurprisingly, Dragon Lady had plenty of availability, and I think it's time that P&O cuts its losses with that one and just comes up with a new concept. Yeah. Our cruise of 3 nights had one port of call in the southernmost New South Wales town of Eden. Our cruise was specifically branded as the Sapphire Coast Food Festival Cruise. Apart from the name though, I didn't receive anything from P&O in the lead up to the cruise with any information about this food festival. I ran my own Google search to find out information about the Sapphire Coast Food Festival, but even then I couldn't find any information from P&O about how we would be getting to the festival or what exactly it entailed. Information was provided via in-room notices during the cruise, but for many passengers they would have to be forgiven for making alternative plans because they likely did not know what was happening in town during our day in port. That just seems like a really simple thing to me. If you're advertising a particular themed cruise that's connected to an on-land event, then why not provide your passengers with the information that they need to make a decision about what they want to do on that day? Additionally, although the cruise wasn't branded specifically as a food and wine cruise like it has been in the past, I think that, like me, other passengers were probably looking forward to some sort of related events on board. I had assumed there might be cooking demonstrations or wine testing and cheese tastings, things of that nature, but there was really nothing. I thought that was a shame and might be something that P&O can work on for future themed cruises that relate to the food festival. So did the Byron Beach experience and Pacific Adventure redeem themselves? In a nutshell, I say yes. Apart from some minor niggles, the Byron Beach Club is a really solid cruise product that elevates the onboard experience for its guests. In addition to what I've already mentioned, Byron guests also receive priority embarkation on boarding day, plus your grey Byron Beach cruise card acts as your tender ticket when the ship is at anchor, so you can avoid delays getting off the ship. There are additional in-room perks like 2 large bottles of water, plus you can also order sweet and savoury snacks and a fruit basket to your room. One thing to probably keep in mind though is that the club is an outdoor venue. If you're on a cool climate cruise or the weather is just bad, you won't necessarily be able to take advantage of the space. I think that's something to consider. Overall though, I had a much better experience on board and I feel like I was able to enjoy and try out all of the Byron Beach Club perks. Pacific Adventure on the whole feels more like the P&O that I had hoped to experience on the maiden cruise, and I have no doubt that for the most part you will enjoy your time on board. I hope you enjoyed the review. Let me know in the comments, if you've sailed on Pacific Adventure earlier, would you be willing to give her another try? And if you've sailed in the Byron Beach Club, let me know what that was like, or if you haven't, let me know what you've been most looking forward to. As always, if you're looking to book a cruise on any cruise line from any port in the world, you can head to my website, thecruiseandtravelguy.com.au, and you can give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram at thecruiseandtravelguy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. I knew based on other cruises that I sailed with P&O on, I knew based on other cruises that I had sailed on, I often think that if that's happening to me, someone who's... And that brought me to a Sapphire Coast website.